Lovelies, welcome to Flirting with Travel. I am Lexi, and today we are doing an in-depth review of the Matador Gear Cube 3 set. Look, I'm going to try and keep this as short and pithy as possible, but if you're wondering, what the hell do you possibly have to talk about this long for packing cubes? I mean, welcome to the channel, you're clearly new here. We do very much in-depth bag reviews because you don't actually have to have the best stuff to travel, but having the right stuff makes travel way better. So, we are going to talk about the cubes, the features, likes, dislikes, packing them, and then show you how they fit in bags. If that is something that you're interested in, you're my kind of person. The packing cubes come in large, medium, and small, and all three of these are part of the set that you purchase. I actually found that having these three different sizes worked really well with how I was traveling. Now, it has two colors. We have the Arctic White and Standard Black. So typically, I am someone who gets almost all of my travel gear in black just because I like the fact that it doesn't stain, no issues with it. However, these are made out of a recycled nylon, so you're really not going to deal with a ton of staining on this because it's a water-resistant fabric. Let's talk about size, weight, and capacity. Honestly, age is starting to hit us, and I've been wearing my glasses more and more. So to start with, the large packing cube holds 5-liter capacity and is 3.3 ounces. The medium packing cube holds 3.9 liters and it weighs 3.05 ounces. Finally, our small packing cube holds 2.5 liters and it weighs 2.76 ounces. This gives you a combined total of 11.4 packing liters. And just for reference, a lot of the travel backpacks that you get are going to be about 35 liters. Why you still need that extra space is because this is going to hold your clothing, but you still need tech bags, toiletry bags, and maybe some other accessories and other things that you carry that are not purely your clothing. Altogether, the three bags combined, empty, weigh about half a pound, which to me is fantastic because if you're traveling to Europe or to Asia, on a non-US airline, most have carry-on weight limits that are about 17.6 pounds.
I recommend pausing and taking a screenshot, but here are airlines that have a 15-pound limit, airlines with a 17.6-pound carry-on, this is the most common, and finally, those with a 22-pound carry-on.
So if you consider that these packing cubes are taking up 0.6, then you still have another 17 pounds for your bag, your clothing, and anything else that you're carrying. Now, for the size, each bag is 10 inches long. And if you're looking at it like this, you're thinking there's no way that all three are the same. However, it's actually easier to see if you look at them from the bottom. Side by side, each of them is the exact same length, 10 inches. Your largest is going to be 8 inches wide, 6 inches wide, and then 4 inches wide. And all three of them are 4 inches tall. You've got some really cool features. For instance, you have two top handles on your bag. You're probably thinking, in a packing cube, how often am I going to lift it like this? So very often. One of my favorite things is that if you have these packed into a bag nice and tight, instead of having to wedge your hands in to get them out, you can just easily reach in and grab them. And one thing I like is that you have double stitching. So you've got a great tight zigzag stitch here and another zigzag stitch there, which means that you shouldn't have to worry about these pulling off of your fabric. They feel very sturdy. This is just me being a seamstress. I like to double check these. I like that they did a double reinforced fabric so that you don't have to worry about this pulling that apart. I had wondered about that. I was like, wait, what happens if you pull this and it's too heavy and it just rips your fabric? No, they did a second piece of fabric, and that is a good stitch. That's sturdy. Then you've got a water-resistant YKK number 5 zipper, and it's a double zipper, which means that you can get to it from either side. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, it's kind of goofy. I don't know if I need a double zipper. However, if I needed to reach in and just grab something from this side, instead of having to open the entire packing cube, I can get to exactly what I need. Sometimes when you're trying to zip something, you need like a little pull tab. I can easily hold this and zip, which gives you a good grip on this bag. Your basic zipper pull is metal. Then you've got these fabric bits. something kind of rubbery that's attached to the knot so that this won't pull off. Some way, somehow, I think this is like heat wrapped on there. So it feels very sturdy and it gives you purchase when you're moving this way or that way. So the packing cubes are made of a recycled nylon that meets blue sign criteria. Do I know what blue sign criteria is? No. However, the fact that it's made of recycled materials is so nice. It's just a little earth friendly and we appreciate that. So because the material is made of nylon, it is actually water resistant all the way around. Now, this doesn't mean that it can stand up to prolonged exposure in the rain or to being fully submerged. But if a little water gets on it, you don't have to worry that whatever's inside is going to get wet. My absolute favorite feature of these packing cubes is going to be the compression. Now, just looking at this, it's 4 inches tall. I don't think it offers a ton of compression. It's not like you're looking at this packing cube and thinking it's a vacuum seal bag. If you want that, there's other packing systems. I think this offers a moderate amount of compression while also not leaving your stuff entirely wrinkly. On the side, you've got your 2 compression straps. And if you're ready to tighten it down, grab this at the bottom, hold it, grip, and bring it down. When you're ready to pack it, if you don't want anything flopping around, just push these to the bottom, and now you've got no dangly bits. It's soft and malleable. So even if you had a bag that wasn't super rectangular, for instance, like the Peak Design travel backpack has a curved edge at the top, you can push this in, and as long as all you have in here is clothing, you can kind of shape it to fit where you need it to. On the bottom of the bag, you actually have these loops, which I don't know what they're for. Maybe in the actual Matador bag, they have a place where you can affix these to the bag so they don't slide around. I think it's a nice aesthetic thing, but I don't think it adds anything else to this bag. So this is the inside of your bag. It is just one layer of the nylon, which is why it is so lightweight. Even the handles are very lightweight because it's just a nylon strap with a bit of the rubberized bit around it. And then this is going to be plastic. So it's not metal hardware with the exception of your actual zipper. You can see that it's basically just a rectangle inside of your bag that you can pack in. Now, this is not so much something like a bell and whistle feature, but I am a fan that they actually put finishing on here, and even on their side seam, they did, what is this? This isn't a French seam, a double seam. They did this as a double seam, which is a really secure seam. Because you have that double seam, it's one, really quality because you don't have any raw edges showing, and 2, is very secure because you have 2 rows of stitching. So you don't have to worry that this is going to come apart, and even if for some reason somehow it did, you'd have a second line of stitching inside. Now, this, I don't love having the extra edge be raw, but at the same time, I would rather have this be raw than not have the second piece of fabric to add a little bit of tensile strength. So that describes all of the features on the bag, but to me, I don't think you can really understand how a packing cube works until you've packed with it. So let's talk about how much we can fit in here. For most of my standard packing, I use the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. This means 5 tops, 4 bottoms, 3 shoes, 2 layering pieces, and 1 set of accessories.
This is everything that I'd need for 1 to 2 weeks in a warm weather destination, not including an airport outfit. I divvy up my packing with the bottoms in the large cube, tops in the medium, and miscellaneous in the small. Shout out to the quick release on the compression straps. Do you see how easy that was? Packing is a never-ending game of Tetris where the objective is to fit as much as you can into the cube without everything being a wrinkled mess at the end. So I do mostly a Marie Kondo brick folding method, and I take extra care to have the width of the folded items match up to the packing cube. If I have some extra space on the side, best believe something is going in to fill that space, like these pajamas. But there's an exception to every rule. With that, you're going to see that I do a mixture of half and half folding, rolling, and brick shape folding. Now we're ready to zip it up, and that still zips beautifully. I've got a little bit of extra space in here, but you'll see why there's some benefits to underpacking the cube when we put them into suitcases later. I'm gonna level with you. No matter how good a packing cube is, there's still a component of how you're packing them that makes them the most efficient. If you're just throwing things in haphazardly, you're probably not going to get as much efficiency out of this cube as possible. But for me, I was able to fit in all of my tops and I still had room to throw in underwear and socks. So when I have room to put in extras, that is when I know that I have folded as efficiently as possible. But if we're being real, the fact that I could easily get so much into these packing cubes was astounding, even to me. I took these on a 3-week, 3-city trip in Mexico and was so happy with their performance.
We were actually able to fit all of our clothing inside of the large and the medium packing cube, which still leaves the small packing cube. Now, it depends on the type of trip I was going to take. If I was going to a beach, this is where I'd put all my swimsuits. And if I was going somewhere cold weather, this is where I'd put things like my hat and my scarves. In the context of, let's just say we're going to somewhere mid-weather, I'm going to try this for shoes, because they mention that these are not just packing cubes for clothes. It's supposed to be for any type of gear, clothing, shoes. Let's try packing a pair of sneakers in them. Now, first things first, I am putting it into a bag. The reason for that is because I actually do travel with these. When I travel with them, I use it for my underwear, so I'm not going to put my dirty ass shoes in the same bag that I put my underwear in. Even though the bag is washable, it just, it goes against who we are. So, putting these in plastic so I can try this out. Ooh. I do like this as a shoe bag, but now we've got everything packed, so let's try putting it in some bags. First things first, I don't have the Matador backpack to put the cubes in. We're going to try with the Peak Design travel backpack. One of the features that I love about this backpack is that it has a giant packing space where you can place everything. Because of that, internal organization is so important. So to start with, we'll put in our large packing cube. You have a little bit of room on the side, not a ton. Next, we'll add in our medium packing cube. And last but not least, our small cube. Actually, what I might do, because I like having the biggest part at the bottom, so I might do something like this, and then that. Then that way we can put our tech bag or toiletry bag and something like a scarf on top of this. But I just want to make sure that this still zips up. Okay, so that fits pretty nice. Next, let's try this with the July lightweight carry-on. Now, what's amazing about this bag is that it is made to me for European travel. Now, packing cubes in bags that open up halfway are kind of a thing. You really have to underpack them because you can see how much this extends. Okay, so that's our large, our medium. Let's try moving that to the middle. Then we're going to put our shoes, our small packing cube, on the end. So our puffiest part is in the middle of the bag. Let's see how this zips up. And it gives you a little bit of guff when zipping, but it does work. So you can get 3 fully packed packing cubes. However, you can see where it comes up, which means this side will need to be packed a little bit under so that you don't have issues getting this zipped. This is the bag that I packed going to Mexico. This is the Indigo carry-on. Now this bag is definitely larger. So let's see, you've got your large, your medium, and your small. You actually still have some room on the side to put some other stuff in. For my first like, the capacity is fantastic. When I initially saw that it only held a combined total of like 11.5 liters, I thought, well, that's nothing. What am I going to put in here? And then as I packed, I don't know if it's the sizing or the shaping of how they've done this, but I felt like it was punching well above its weight class. The other thing that I really like, when I got to any of my Airbnbs, I'd open my suitcase and I always do a little bit of an unpacking. Items, like say my swimsuit and underwear, I would take straight out of the suitcase, put it into a drawer, and leave it in the cube. I'm never going to put my clothing in a drawer that I haven't personally cleaned myself. So having this as my base layer of a drawer was perfect. The other thing that I absolutely, quite frankly, love about these packing cubes, and maybe are my favorite thing about them, are going to be the compression bits on the side. I cannot stress enough, I don't believe that this compression is the difference between oh, I'm going to put 10 of my size shirts in here, but it is, we're going to basically push out all of the extra air so that this isn't using up more space than it should in my suitcase. I love the material. I really enjoy that it's washable. I personally think that you should be able to wash your packing cubes, which is why I tend to gravitate toward packing cubes that are made out of a thinner fabric. I genuinely think that a soft packing cube allows it to fit into a ton of bags very easily. The other thing that kind of feeds into the materials is how utterly lightweight it is. There's no extra fabric, there's no extra bells and whistles. And I remember when I opened this packing cube, I thought, well, it's a little basic. However, they don't add a lot of weight. If I'm going somewhere like Europe, these are the packing cubes that I would probably take 9 out of 10 times over any other packing cube that I own because they have good capacity and nothing extra that is going to weigh down your bag. I have had my bag checked several times and I am really working on cutting every single ounce and pound that I can out of my bags. I also absolutely love how they fit in my bags. The fact that I could get these into any bag I own comfortably and still have room to kind of maneuver around them because they're so malleable means that you can pack them in any system. There are some packing cubes where you need to have the suitcase or backpack that it comes with to make it worthwhile. These are not one of those packing cubes. I don't feel like there's a barrier of entry of, hey, you can't buy these packing cubes unless you get the Matador backpack. Instead, buy these packing cubes. They'll work amazingly in any bag you have. I just really like the packing cubes. So let's get into our dislikes. Literally nothing. I have no dislikes. I think the only thing I'm semi-agnostic about is the double zipper. If I didn't have it, I'd be fine. But since I do have it, I have used it as a feature multiple times to be able to reach in. But otherwise, literally no dislikes. So what are my final thoughts about the Matador Gear Cube set? You're going to get a cube set like this, and you're going to have it for the next 7 years. And I'm betting you that based on how things are made, you're not going to have any issues with it. So, final thoughts, would I buy this again? Yes. I enjoy these cubes. And I enjoy them so much that, like, I have another trip coming up. I'm supposed to be leaving this weekend, but I'll probably end up leaving next weekend to go to Panama. And I'm trying out another bag, and I'm like, do I want to carry the Matador packing cubes again? Just because I really enjoyed using them. I could go back to my Peak design, I could go on to another packing cube, but I'm literally pulled to try using these again. I mean, that's probably saying a ton for me, is that if you've got different products to try and in your heart you want to go back to these, that's a good product. Which I think that's everything I can say about this. If you have enjoyed our nerdy time together, please feel free to like, subscribe. Otherwise, ciao!